Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today guys, I've got a ladder game and it is between FXOSlavik, who is of course the red Zerg player in the lower left position, and he is up against Proxy, who is of course the blue Terran player in the top right. And well, Proxy seems to be a little bit concerned about this match so far, and who can blame him? Slavik is such a well-known player and so high quality. The map is Cloud Kingdom, and like so many of the games I've cast recently have been on this map. It's just like, do you ever get that time where I went through a phase where the only games I could find were PvZ, and it was really quite awkward because it was just like every game is PvZ. It's not done on purpose, and it's like at the moment it's like every map is on Cloud Kingdom. Now, judging by the supply depot placement, I'm thinking Proxy's going to be going for a command center first build. Which is very viable. Obviously, it could be a 1-Rax command center as well. Those are really the two best possible openings against Zerg, in my opinion, at the moment. The 1-Rax command center is awesome, and the reason it's so good is because Zerg players, well, they take a 15 hatch pretty much every game. That's followed up by a 16 pool, and the reason they do that is to get the economic advantage. Now, Terran have really metagame countered that with the 1-Rax command center or CC first build, in the saying, well, I'm going to take my expansion really quickly as well. What you gonna do about it? And that kind of leaves the Zerg player in the position of, well, on the one hand, I could try and kill you on two bases, but you're Terran, so you're gonna wall off, and you're gonna have loads of Marines and stuff, and it's gonna be a nightmare, and probably won't work out too well with repair and bunker and everything like that. So that means I've got to take my third base, but you're Terran, and if you go Marine tank, which most Terrans do against Zerg, then I've got some issues that a kind of 2-tank marine push is going to do a lot of damage, or you could be going for a very harassment focused build in the terms of Hellion Banshee or something like that, in which case then I've got to defend this base and this base from the Hellions while trying to defend my main from Banshee, and generally it's just like headaches and things go bad. So it's a really great opener, and it's why a lot of Terrans are doing really well against Zerg at the moment, because it's quite difficult. And as a result of that, if you don't deal some good damage early on, Terran, I really feel, and this is the problem with the matchup in my opinion, that if they don't do really well mid-game and really win sort of before the Death Ball army from the Zerg, it can get quite difficult, and you start having to look at things like Ravens and army composition very closely, which a lot of Terran players struggle with it, and those who aren't the real top level pro gamers. And I mean, I'm not saying that it's overpowered or anything like that, but it is a difficult point, whereas the real big window for Terran to win against Zerg is, of course, with the harassment with Hellions and Banshee, and with some nice timing pushes. That is really where I see the strength in Terran in this matchup, and where I've seen a lot of Terran players really utilise that effectively. Now, looking here, we do of course have the 1-Rax command center opening, followed up by 2 more gas, so we should then see a factory as soon as 100 gas has been mined, then a reactor on the barracks into reactor Hellions, which is ever so normal. Mech is getting increasingly common as well in this matchup. And the reason it works is because, well, you get the Hellions and then the Banshee out, and obviously that buys you the time you need to build up a good mech army, which is strong late game, and that can be effective. On this map, I'm not so sure how likely we will see the Banshee, just because there's a bit of dead space, but it's not a huge amount. It's not like you have free-flowing dead area you can really optimize against. So we'll wait and see what happens. The other thing is obviously you can get more factories and get blue flame. That can work as well, but generally if you're going to do that, you don't get that reactor straight away. You get a tech lab there to start the blue flame first and then follow up with a second factory. So we'll wait and see what goes down. Slavik, he's got his third base, so he's staying a base up on his opponent. I believe it was scouted, so yeah, he's seen it with the Overlord, knows the opening his opponent's going for. It's really quite easy to predict. This marine placement might not seem like a big deal, but it's really good because it's denying the scouting, and as I say, that Zergling runs through, it can deny most scouting. 2 Zerglings is just an awful lot, and importantly, Slavik scouted this 3rd command center. That is a big tell. He sees the factory and the reactor, which isn't surprising. Every Terran player goes for reactor Hellions as a follow-up, so that's fine. But this 3rd command center basically says, hey, my opponent is going to try and out-economy me, basically, and get better macro. As a result of that, this, again, just kind of sticks the Terran in the same position as they were when they go for a 1-Rax command center. Equal bases with the Zerg. And as a result, that means the Zerg player has to find some kind of good solution to this, be it a 3-base push or taking a super early 4th. But the difficulty is they can't really punish this base, because it's very unlikely that Proxy will move it down anytime soon, because he can just build SCVs for a while, get more mules out, and that's happy times. And This... how? Wait, what? 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 I'm really confused right now. Ah, hatchery. You better hatchery for a second and then chuck down the creep tumors. Sorry, my brain was just thinking, I was just like, what? How did he do that? But this was a bit of a genius move. Those Hellions are going to be exceptionally confused right now. They're just like, what? How is creep out there already? And I was even like that for a second, because I don't think I've actually seen that ever done personally before. So that was a neat little trick there, and I can't imagine it was worth that many minerals that the council and the hatchery would have cost. But no, the Hellions, they're poking in. The Banshee is on its way out. Cloak also on the way. My confusion did stop me realising what's going on. But obviously Cloak on the way, so that just makes the Banshee a bit more effective. But the counter side to that is obviously it's a big investment, and if the Banshee doesn't get a good amount of kills, it can cause problems. But Slavik, he doesn't have any lair down yet. He does have the 2 Evo chambers, but no sign of any spore crawlers. I don't think he's scouted the starports there, so that's fine. Meanwhile, we've got the double armory, so it's going to be a mech follow-up pretty much. That's what the double armory says. It's the only reason you get double armory. Obviously, you need the armory to get the 2 infantry upgrades, but you don't need 2 of them. So, mech is on the cards, and this is actually quite a dangerous little push, especially to this third base. The queens are there ready to defend, but of course the natural is open, a bit exposed. A good number of queens out for Slavik, and that's what I really like. I push in a lot of my casts, but getting extra queens is always a good move. Now, for the moment, we've of course got some good damage being done at the moment. That Banshee needs to be careful, though. We do have the lair on its way out, and we do also have the Cadius reactor on its way. And Cadius reactor. So, obviously, that is an upgrade which not too many people will be familiar with. Looking here, we do have, well, some good movement of the Hellions, and Proxy doing a good job trying to get some damage done. Trying not to lose too many units. And if we look at the loss tab, he hasn't actually lost anything yet, so that's pretty damn good. Now, for those of you wondering, of course, this just increases the starting energy of the Medivacs, which, again, is an upgrade you don't tend to see too often. And with the mech build, I'm really interested why he's getting that. The only reason I could think is that it shows the tech lab is researching something, so if Overlords were to go in, they'd think, oh, okay, maybe Cloak's on the way, or something else. But other than that, I'm not really sure, because he's already seen that the Banshee's there, but he hasn't revealed that he's got Cloak yet, so that's quite interesting. These creep tumors getting taken down. Lair has finished, of course, for Slavik now. He's got the Baning Nest on the way. He's got the 2 more gas coming down. That'll take him up to 4 gas. Meanwhile, the third base has been floated down here by Proxy, who's getting up yet more factories. He's already on to his 3rd, just finishing up now. Starting his 4th and 5th straight away. He likes those factories. The creep spread is still getting absolutely everywhere, though. This is good work by Slavik. He's just absolutely dominating the creep spread. It's like he's Ace's Scarlet, and well, that's going to cause some big problems, because obviously creep spread gives you vision. Terran players tend not to like engaging on it, that's the only problem, and well, it gives your Zerg units more mobility. Now, Banshee numbers sticking at 2 for the moment, a 3rd one on the way over, and obviously Cloak is now just getting revealed, but of course there is an Overseer there, so that means Cloak is pretty much useless, but 2 Banshees can actually do pretty good damage, so picking off a Queen there very, very quickly, and that's going to be irritating. We do have Blue Flame on the way out for Proxy right now. Slavik, he's happily getting up more queens. He's getting lots and lots and lots of queens. That's for the anti-air. In terms of spore crawlers, he's got 1 at the 3rd, 1 at the natural, 2 at the natural rather, and 1 on the main. So he's in a good position to defend against any big air aggression. But obviously Proxy, he's got that 3rd base up. He's starting his 4th command center already, so he's really going to town. And the reason you can afford to get so many command centers in this kind of build is that you do start getting up quite a lot of minerals. In terms of tech-wise, he's getting some Thors out. He's getting siege mode out for the tanks. 1-1 vehicle weapons on the way, but a big Zergling counterattack coming in. There's absolutely nothing here to defend this. This could be absolutely huge. Slavik could do huge amounts of damage. All the Zerglings getting there, and just so many SCVs go down so quickly. This is big problems. All of the Hellions are on their way back, and we'll be able to clean it up, but most of the Zerglings can probably get out straight away. 18 workers killed there, and that does put Slavik comfortably ahead in terms of the work count. He's taking his 4th base behind this as well. Forced to cancel on the 4th command center there, and wow, Slavik goes from nothing to something very, very quickly, and he's still got those Zerglings there, which will remain a threat, and that could actually force Proxy to stay back and not want to risk anything more. And he's going in for yet another push, but of course the Hellions are there at the moment, but well, he's going to try and get surrounded with those Zerglings, and the Hellions are unfortunately just sitting there for the time being, but there's just so many, they vaporize everything. They do have 1-1. Also, Blue Flame has now finished. That means they do 21 damage per hit to light units. 4th base, about 2/3 finished. A lot of Banings there for Slavik right now. He's getting the +1 missile attack as well as pathogen glands, so Infestors will be coming in imminently. And well, while there are 4 Banshee, the Overseer will grant detection, so Cloak a bit of a wasted investment there. Didn't really come into use at all. And as a result, that does theoretically put Proxy a bit behind. Some tanks coming out now. Obviously, the important thing with mech is thinking, hey, what is going to be my tank Thor composition, really? Because the Thors can be countered by just mass roach, and if you have some siege tanks spread out there, they just deal with the roaches so well, it's insane. Some scans going off. As you can see, these scans are really forced by the fact that there's so much creep. And the scans prevent there being mules, which lowers the income of the Terran player. So that's just another great advantage of it. We've got more scans coming down somewhere. Where are you, scan? There we go, in the main base. So obviously that is just keeping an eye out on what's going on. Sees that there's no hive. That's really a critical thing to note. Now, obviously the infestation bit is already done. Your parasite on its way down. That's a great counter to mech, because mech obviously has just a couple of very expensive units. The siege tank positioning beautiful. The Hellion's trapped though completely. So obviously the siege tanks could get some good hits off. The Queen soaking up a bit of fire there. Needs to be careful how it goes. Hive on his way down. That scan sees absolutely all of the Zerg army. And Slavik is pretty much maxed out. He needs to be careful where he engages. I'm noticing that this natural base is very, very exposed. The Hellion's coming around from behind, though. Could go for some kind of sandwich maneuver. Maybe just a bit of counter-aggression, but there are a few Hellions there. Blue Flame now revealed as well. The fourth base up, but not doing anything for Slavik at the moment. The fourth command center is two-thirds done for the moment for Proxy as well. Looking up at the third base, well, we do have the Spire on its way out, so it's definitely Broodlord tech. The Hive, again, the Spire and Hive are very, very similar timings. Or get them together there, where you can start the Greater Spire as soon as your Hive finishes, ready to get Broodlords out at a good time. And well, this has been a very passive match at the moment. I mean, if we look at the loss tab, less than 2,000 resources lost by each player. And really the biggest part of the aggression in the game so far is that Slavik's killed 18 workers, but he's still only, what is that, like 16 workers ahead, so not a huge amount when you factor in the 3 mules. It's probably pretty equal. The fourth base would make a big deciding difference, but of course not much there. And Hellion's doing quite a bit of damage down here already now, and well, they're managing to pick off a couple of workers, but unfortunately get cleaned up before they can do too much. There are some more Hellions here though, but there were no drones at the fourth, so that is going to delay a lot of it. But of course Proxy now up to max with this huge mech army. This mech army is 2-2. If we compare that to the upgrades of the Zerg player, well, that's 2-2 on the melee and 2-1 on the ranged. So well, this could be a pretty dangerous engagement. The infestors are out, but they don't have much energy on them. That could be a bit of a problem. Here we go, we've got one infested Terran lonely getting dropped out there. The siege tanks all line up in the same place, and this is just huge damage going down here at the moment. And well, as you can see, this is a very, very one-sided fight at the moment, and Slavik getting absolutely decimated. He allowed this army to get completely built up, and well, that mech force showing why it is just such a threat, and it's just going to be able to continue this momentum forward. The Infestor is there, a good fungal growth goes down, that should be able to pick off a couple of Hellions. The one thing missing from Proxy's army at the moment is, of course, SCVs, but the downside to going mech is that against Zerg can resupply very effectively, so if they can get an early engagement like there, then it's the resupply you've really got to be worried about. As you can see, 70 Zerglings on their way down, but a good number of the tanks maintaining up. Great positioning of the tanks up here. Fourth base goes down for Slavik. That basically means that he's a base down on his opponent. This command center trying to float off into the distance, but will get spotted by an overlord there. Coming back down to the main action, we do have a new fourth base for Slavik, obviously in the top position there, which I forgot to mention earlier. But, well, Greater Spire is down. We don't have any Broodlords on the field yet. We don't even have any Corruptors out yet. So this is really kind of panic build against this, and 70 Zerglings are going to melt the Blue Flame Hellions. The siege isn't down though, so here we go, got units coming in, and this is a pretty tough engagement, but it still looks like Proxy is coming out better. The resupply of more roaches coming down, roaches trying to come in from behind. The tanks though and Thor's doing so much damage. The 2-2 upgrades just so effective, and as you can see, Proxy, he is still pushing forward. He's got that base in the top corner morphing into a planetary fortress as well. They'll keep him on equal bases with Slavik right now. Those infestors having to move back, and if Slavik loses his third base, I'm all but thinking it's going to be GG. He's going to lose his Greater Spire as well. That basically sends him back 200 seconds in terms of the tech at least, so that is a huge amount of time. We do see here as well that the Roach one goes down. This is all of the key tech that Slavik needs to deal with his army going in seconds. The infestation pit is there as well, and it looks like Slavik could just flat out lose here. We've got double command centers being built here by Proxy, who is just in such a bold mood. He's got so many minerals banked up. The problem is though he's just a bit low on gas. That's really what's stopping the resupply. But so many more tanks on their way over now. It's a massive train of blue, and well, these roaches and zerglings are going to go for a counterattack, and they could pick off the reinforcements if they were very, very careful. But the problem is it will allow a good siege up position, and what this has done is basically allowed Proxy to really corner off Slavik's army from his main base, so that could cause some problems. The tanks are sieged up, they're doing good damage. One Thor goes down, the second Thor taking a lot of damage, but here comes the tanks and if only they had sieged up a bit sooner, they would have been in such a better position. But Slavik with the absolutely clutch defense right now is still somehow holding on. It's absolutely insane, but he is down to 3 bases, which is the problem, but he's cleaning up most of the remainder of this mech army, and of course the Zerglings will engage incredibly well against the tanks, and is cleaning up most of the things here. These Vikings are able to do some damage. The Banshee finally picking off a couple of drones, and now it's just really up to a case of Proxy trying to defend this and any kind of counter aggression. We do have this top corner base, gonna take some hits, but of course it is a planetary fortress, and with the repair will be able to last for quite a long time, and shouldn't be in too much of a threat. But the Vikings, they're still moving across. They are just going Overlord hunting. They're just like, hey, you like Overlords, but the Infestors, they like fungal growth, and they are going down everywhere. Of course, the Infestation pick coming down. The big problem is Slavik is nearly at half the supply of his opponent, and has got a lot of his tech taken out unnecessarily. In terms of the worker count as well, 41 to 66 in the Terran favour. That is absolutely huge. Now, if I was in Proxy's position, I would play safe, like literally like a bank vault, because you know you're ahead. You've got these extra bases. You know you've picked off the 4th and the 3rd base. You know that this base is up, but that's fine. It just means the Zerg's on 3 bases. I would have checked down here just to make sure there was no hidden base or anything like that. But we've got some Hellions coming from behind, and while there are some roaches there, are they going to be able to do enough damage quickly enough before the Hellions manage to get in with Blue Flame? They should be able to roast a couple more drones, and they do get a couple of kills. Not that many, but of course Hellions very, very cheap at this stage in the game. 41 workers killed by Proxy right now, and Slavik is really in a tough position because, as you can see, 69 to 35 workers. That is absolutely huge. Nearly double the worker count for the Terran player there. When you factor mules in, the economy is just crazy for Terran. And struggling to actually spend all of those minerals. He's got 2 additional orbital commands coming out there as well. So those mules definitely making up an awful lot of income right now. Mined out in the natural and main though. So that is the only slight problem. Need to start thinking about this creep up my 4th, which is so potent. But obviously the army supply is absolutely hugely in Proxy's favour, and if he just starts moving across, he could be in a great spot. The only thing that's really disappointing to see is 3-3 never got started, and it's a really powerful upgrade. 3-3, all the upgrades are, and that would just really tip the balance of power in Proxy's favour. If we look at this army supply, well, even though you factor that there's half the number of workers, the army supply is still in Proxy's favour as well. A lot of Infestors there. Great fungal growth goes down, getting so many units in there. And, well, Slavik, he is still doing an absolute miracle defense. How he is still in this game, I do not know. He's trying to retake his 3rd base, but for the time being, this is struggling. And that single infested Terran holding the watchtower to give some more information about what's going on. And yet more fungal growth going down the tanks, and Thor's slowly moving across. There is only just the 1 tank at the back there. A lot of Thors. Your Parasite goes down. That is a great move right there. And Slavik with another absolutely beautiful defense, lobbing down those infested Terrans. The Neural Parasite being so effective in helping this army engage. Lots of Queens there, transfusing literally everything as quickly as he can, but still the Terran mech army survives. And, well, you can see just damage being done, but still we've got transfuses on their way. The Thors are being backed up by 2 more, and there is the GG from Slavik, who held on ever so well for ever such a long time. But Proxy takes it in quite classy fashion, actually. So, guys, if you did enjoy the cast, please subscribe, leave a cool comment, like the video, etc, etc. Follow me on Twitter as well, because I have exciting news coming up, so you should follow me on there so you know all about it. And, well, I'll see you tomorrow for yet another new game. Bye for now.